Is Elvis still alive? What happened at Area 51? Who actually killed JFK? And are our politicians and leaders actually reptiles who have transformed into human robots? Hoaxes and conspiracy theories are nothing new, said Claire Graphic, head of exhibitions at the Photographers Gallery in London, which is presenting a 9-day exhibition and discussion entitled Conspiracy Week. But these theories are entering the mainstream to a degree that we have never seen before. Now anyone can spread conspiracy theories to many other people via the internet, and the potential for these conspiracy theories to spread is now increasing rapidly. Conspiracy theories about the death of singer Avril Lavigne are rolling back. How can Western civilization collapse? There was a disease hidden in the ice, and they began to rise. The highlight of Conspiracy Town is the Divisive Moments exhibit, which comes from the archives of Wendell C. Stevens, 1923 to 2010, a former U.S. Air Force pilot and pioneering UFO researcher. In his 50-year career, Stevens amassed the most complete collection of UFO photographs in the world. We feel that the UFO story is the most subtle way to introduce a debate about a hot issue, said Graphic. Currently there is an effect that when the world does not suit your beliefs, then you can create your own reality through the internet, and forums encourage closed debate. You no longer have to face your opinion on the reality of the world. This, according to Graphic, gives rise to the growth of conspiracy theories. He also believes that conspiracy theories are increasingly becoming a factor in changing the face of global politics. You could also say that Donald Trump emerged from this new culture of conspiracy theories, that the explosion of conspiracy theories on the internet made it possible for someone like him to become famous. Who is interested in conspiracy theories? People who feel that the world is not giving them the reality they want, said Graphic. In a world that seems exaggerated and complex, it is interesting to find a narrative that explains everything, even when that narrative, for others, seems very strange. There is a natural human instinct to make something make sense, by any means. Moreover, in the dark world of conspiracy theories, photos play an important role. Many conspiracy theorists base their arguments on evidence produced from photos in the public domain, which they then endlessly analyze and debate. This is because photography is the most easily accepted form of eyewitness evidence, said Gordon MacDonald, curator of Divisive Moments. The intervention of the machine, i.e. the camera, gives photography a kind of illusion of unbiased observation. And, of course, photography can be easily consumed and disseminated. We can easily absorb the information in the photo, while reading the text requires effort. Of course, the thought that the camera never lies is incorrect. Here, we've selected 5 photos often used by paranormal conspiracy theorists to prove their beliefs. In 1979, Stevens published a book entitled UFO, Contact from the Pleiades. This book investigates the claims of a Swiss farmer named Billy Meyer who says he made contact with aliens from the Pleiades constellation, and has his photo as proof. Stevens' book analyzes Meyer's photographs, a series of landscapes where vague iron spirals appear and seem to float against a mountainous backdrop, through a series of scientific tests. Using early digital technology, this test is used to determine the authenticity of the photos. Stevens concluded that the photos were not the result of engineering. The clever way soldiers make food on the battlefield, reviving the monster made by the Soviet Union. Even so, he did not consider the possibility that this photo was faked or made in other ways. For example, Meyer could have hung the pot lid like a spaceship from a tree outside the photo area, using a thin, hard-to-see wire. Just because a photo is real, an original photo produced from a real camera, doesn't mean it shows what someone said, MacDonald said. When studying UFOs, MacDonald noted a trend. Flying saucers tend to be seen by white men in remote areas, the Alps, deserts in Nevada, rural Argentina, Mexico, and not by many people in urban areas. There has never been a claim that a spaceship was seen by 10,000 people on Oxford Street, for example, although perhaps that could happen during the exhibition. UFO sightings have been reported for decades, and photos of aliens and spaceships are relatively common. But McDonald is aware of one photo allegedly taken by aliens, a friendly extraterrestrial named Rama, the protagonist of a little-known abduction case that appeared in the city of Botucatu, Brazil, in the 1980s. The story is that a Brazilian man, João Valerio da Silva, and his eldest son were kidnapped by Rama several times, and taken to his home planet to have sex with women there in order to increase the population, said McDonald. Stevens wrote a book specifically about this strange case in which the captive recalled a female alien he met, having breasts like a Indian woman. Very interesting. How did the legend of the terrifying Egyptian mummy come to be? Animals that were once thought to be evil creatures. Stevens also reproduced several atmospheric photos featuring a human-like figure claimed to be the extraterrestrial being, Rama. There is even a strange photo of the lower part of Da Silva's face featuring his bushy mustache that was reportedly taken by Rama himself. The so-called photographic evidence is a strange thing, McDonald said. Many people claim to be abducted, but someone borrows an automatic camera, hides it, and takes it to an alien planet to take photos. I've never heard of this before. Landing on the moon. A famous conspiracy theory is about the Apollo landings on the moon between 1969 and 1972 and the original NASA photo that some people believe is a fake photo. Image source: NASA image description. A popular conspiracy theory is about the Apollo moon landings between 1969 and 1972 and an original NASA photo that some people believe is a fake photo. One of the most famous conspiracy theories is about the Apollo landings on the moon that happened between 1969 and 1972 as a hoax or false news, and that the photos released by NASA are artificial photos. This idea first emerged from USAL sailor Bill Kaysing, who published a book explaining his theory, We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle, in 1976. Those who believe the moon landing was a hoax argue that NASA's motivation was to create the impression on the world that America won the space race against the Soviet Union, when in fact it did not. Kaysing was a well-educated man, and he believed in his theory and explained it in an analytical way, McDonald said. When you read his doubts, he articulates them clearly, and this is why people believe him. Why are caves the best place to train astronauts? What would happen if everyone in the world became vegetarian? Skip the podcast and continue reading. Investigation. Adoption scandal investigation to remove the veil of illegal adoption from Indonesia to the Netherlands. In the past episode end of the podcast, Kaysing and his followers, many of whom still question the moon landings, focused on oddities in NASA photos, which are freely available on the agency's website. McDonald explained, there are several problems. That the same background appears in several locations, so it feels like a staged set, that the shadows of the boulder and the astronauts come from different directions, and that there are too many photos available, considering the tools they carry that moment. Of course, McDonald continued, every such argument has been refuted by NASA, but the popularity of Kaysing's thinking remains significant, because it explains the motivation of conspiracy theories in general, distrust of governments and those in power. It's the same with UFO conspiracy theories, McDonald said. There is often a belief that the government is hiding something. Just look at Area 51. There is always us and them thinking in conspiracy theories, otherwise who would conspire? And it is usually the government that is called them. Humans have been speculating about the possibility of life on Mars for a long time, so when NASA released photos taken from the camera on the Curiosity rover, which landed on the planet in 2012, the conspiracy theory community, unsurprisingly, immediately went crazy. People see shapes, faces, pyramids, insects, all kinds of things, on the surface of Mars, McDonald said. And even though NASA explains that there is nothing there, that this is a shadow and a trick of the light, those who believe in conspiracy theories are more and more convinced to fight the authorities. Even NASA is always in a tug-of-war position with the experts of this conspiracy theory. The strange inspirations behind Greek mythology, two-headed real creatures that may have inspired Hydra. Although many of these claims are funny, one photo is said to feature a figure that looks like Elvis Presley. Some theories are supported because they seem more convincing. For example, Last year, when it was reported that one of Curiosity's photos of the barren landscape of Mars showed two ruined pyramids, evidence of a lost civilization on the red planet. The Mars conspiracy theory is interesting, said McDonald, because unlike the moon landings that indicate a hoax, it does show that there is alien life being covered up by NASA. And because people see pyramids and human faces or shapes, like statues, are impressive that not only was alien life once there, but also because that alien form was us. One of the darkest and most extreme conspiracy theories, and one that can provoke outrage, is around the attacks of September 11, 2001. The main conspiracy theory involves the rapid collapse of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York, USA. Some stated that the destruction of the building occurred not only because of the impact of the collision with the plane, but also as a result of a controlled explosion, for nefarious purposes, by the US government, and possibly to provide an excuse to support the war in the Middle East. Although 9/11 conspiracy theories have been refuted by official researchers, those who believe them use traumatic photography from the attack and after the attack as evidence. In general, the most powerful photos of the World Trade Center, like the man falling, are absolutely horrific, McDonald said. That photo has been shown enough times and we don't need to see it again. But McDonald was more interested in the hoax photos that appeared after September 11th and immediately became a sensation on the internet, and spread by email. The birth of a chimera, half animal half human, a man who tries to photograph thoughts and dreams. The photo, known as Tourist Guy, shows a man standing on the observation deck of the World Trade Center moments before the collision with the hijacked plane, which is seen behind him. The claim is that the rescue workers found a camera in the ruins and the film in it was taken and processed, and they found the last photo of the tourist standing at the top of the World Trade Center, said McDonald. The photo was later proven to be a fake, as it was taken in 1997 by a Hungarian tourist who then digitally altered it after September 11th as a joke. At that time, according to McDonald, the photo became one of the first widely circulated internet hoax conspiracies. The idea that there was a cover-up became even more widespread. Why do people make conspiracy theories? It's hard to answer, McDonald said. Why do people create viruses that break computers? Ultimately, it's about sensationalism and making an impact. If you release something like this into the world, you influence it. And it's about getting recognition.